We have all heard this a million times, that life and death is in the power of the tongue. You have to be careful about what you speak, who you speak on, blah, 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 right? But what I feel like we rarely ever hear is that it's not always the powerful prayers or the big rituals or the hundreds of candles that you may light to do a ritual or a manifestation to shift energy. It's not always that. Sometimes it's the words you whisper when you're hurt, frustrated, just upset, the ones you don't even really mean like that, the ones that come out shaky, angry, tired, and cracked open at the same time. Those hit a little different because when you're speaking from pain, your intention gets a little sticky. It clings, it travels, it lands exactly where you sent it. It's more direct. And unfortunately, this is what happened to one of my subscribers who was just venting in the dark, and she didn't know her words would have a perfect landing. Hey y'all, I'm Yaya. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. And we have another story shared by a subscriber. I love stories like this that's nice, juicy, with details. And this is a story where I feel like this individual is a lot more spiritually mature than I am. So I'm going to say what she did and hypothetically give a scenario on what I would have did if she asked for my advice. But I'm glad she didn't. So let me tell you about a woman by the name of Danielle. She's 32, born in the ATL. She's a hairstylist. She's laid back, has a good personality, and the type of girl who never really bothers nobody unless someone pushes her. And she's the type of person, if you ever see her upset, immediately you would think it's the other person's fault because she doesn't really get out of character. She's usually calm all the time. And unfortunately, the person that did get her this upset would be her husband, and we're going to call him Dion. Danielle and Dion have been married for almost 4 years, and from the outside looking in, they were a solid couple. Cute little townhouse, had matching gym memberships, Sunday grocery runs. You always seen them out and about at events, just cute coupley stuff. Danielle loved him, he loved her. She wasn't perfect, he wasn't perfect, but they were both loyal, gentle, and soft. But somewhere around year 3, something changed. Dion got a little distant, always busy, too tired, too stressed, too hungry, too not tonight. And Danielle felt it before she ever saw it, a change in pattern. Someone who's always up on her is now keeping her at arm's distance. So she was starting to notice the shift before the evidence showed up. 1 second, you're cuddling every night. Next thing you know, he's turning over, guarding his phone, having his phone in his pocket all the time, placing it face down. He needs privacy. He's stressed out. He had a bad day. He don't want to talk. You know, all of the signs. And then finally it came out. And it wasn't just a slip or a mistake he made. He forgot to delete a text message. It wasn't none of that. It was because one of her coworkers, a fellow hairstylist, pulled her to the side in the salon one day and showed her a picture she took while she was at a happy hour after work. And the picture was of Dion, and he was sitting at a lounge all cuddled up in the booth across town with another woman, laughing, giggling, flirty, just real touchy. And of course, the woman was not Danielle. And she's thinking on that day, he was out at a corporate event with his coworkers. So immediately while the hairstylist is telling Danielle this story, she's feeling all of the emotions. She's sad, she's hurt, she's confused. But mostly right now, she's embarrassed because a coworker is telling her, and a coworker that she doesn't even really talk to like that, but this person is telling her that her husband is out thotting and bopping around town. So she's appreciative of the girl telling her the information. She says thank you, but a little piece of her is walking back to the front of the salon looking at everybody else, trying to figure out, okay, was she nice enough just to tell me, or did she tell everybody else? Does everybody know? Did she send this picture in the group chat? Like, are they gonna laugh at me? Like, when I step out for lunch, am I gonna be the hot topic? She's wondering, like, okay, before I even process this information, how many other people do I have to deal with? So Danielle finishes her shift, and that night she confronts Dion about the picture. Of course, he admits, like, we've just been talking for a while and I just let things get out of control. And then Danielle is like, for how long did you let things get out of control? He was like, it's only been a few months. I don't know. I just need a reset. You don't have to worry about that. But she noticed that she started to see those changes for the past few months. So she's like, as soon as you meet this other girl, you automatically just start pushing me away. So she didn't have no big dramatic fight, no packing bags at 2 a.m. Danielle just told him that she needed space just to think clearly, and Dion left to stay at his brother's place until they figured out what were going to be their next steps. The plan was to talk through it, maybe do some counseling, or maybe even separate and divorce for real. Everything at the time was cloudy and painful, so she just wanted her solitude to be able to think without him being there. But it didn't go as smooth as she thought, because here's where things get a little strange. One night, about 2 weeks into the separation, Danielle, she couldn't keep it inside anymore. She had a full-blown breakdown, crying, kicking, screaming, like when your chest won't stop hurting and you're replaying everything he ever said, trying to add up things like, what did I miss? Who else is it? Was it other people? And this is just the one that he got caught with. Like, everything now feels like a lie. So she was sitting on the edge of her bed, lights off, room quiet, hands shaking, voice shaking. She whispered, not a spell, not a ritual, not even a curse, but a prayer. That's what she felt comfortable turning to. And she said, God, or whoever is listening, let him feel what I feel. Not to hurt him, but just so he understands. I don't want to carry this pain alone. And that's all she said. And she, in her head, felt like, oh, he out living his best life and I'm up here kicking and screaming and crying, and he probably with that other girl right now. But as she was saying that prayer, it came from a place that was raw, heavy, charged with emotion and intention, and it hit the air like static. She didn't think anything of it. She thought she was just venting and talking to God, so she went to sleep. But the next morning, something already seemed to be set in motion. Dion called her at 9 a.m. sounding irritated. One of his tires blew out on the way to work. He had to stop by the house to get some of his tools. Danielle told him she was sorry it happened, but honestly, she didn't think too deeply about it. She didn't even want to be on the phone with him. I mean, tires pop, go fix it, stuff happens. So she was like, okay, I'm sorry, but okay, I'll open the garage for you. But things kept happening again and again and again. A week later, he slipped. It's not funny. He slipped going down the stairs at his brother's house, sprained his wrist. The following week, the AC went out in the room he was sleeping in, only his. Like, something happened with the vent where the air wasn't circulating in there, so it was hot. Everyone else was fine, but he was asleep, just all sweaty. His debit card randomly got stolen, and then he got written up at work for being late again after another random car situation. It wasn't life-threatening stuff, but enough inconveniences just to get on your nerves. But it was weird, and it was back to back. Every time he called Danielle, she could hear something different in his voice. It wasn't fear, but frustration mixed with a little bit embarrassment. Like everything he touched was just suddenly going wrong. And then here comes another inconvenience, and this is like the inconvenience. He's at work. He's doing his quarterly sales presentation, running over numbers, performances, just a recap of the whatever he was doing. And the big boss was there, like the corporate dude, the big honcho, the big wig was there. And as soon as Dion finished his presentation, the big boss was like, okay, so where did you get these numbers from? Okay, go back to this slide. Okay, so what does this mean right here? Okay, so you see that dip right there? Okay, so why are you bragging about this when 2 years before we performed like this? And why did you present this like this? Aren't you supposed to do it in this order? I mean, we had hundreds of trainings on this. Like, are you not? Is this your first time doing this? Like, what department are you? Like, he's just tearing him a new one in front of everybody. So all the other workers are just sitting there like, oh my God, child, I ain't trying to do my presentation. Dion is up there stuttering and fumbling through his notes trying to get it together. He was pissed. So Dion gets home, and of course the first thing he does is call Danielle to tell her what happened. So he's like, yeah, I was doing my presentation. I do the same presentation every quarter. Nobody's ever said anything. And then he comes in and he's just tearing everything apart. He could have pulled me off to the side and but he started to sun me and all this stuff, right? But he ends his rant with, do you know how embarrassing that was? And Danielle is like, embarrassing? You were embarrassed at work? I know exactly how that feels because she's thinking, man, my coworker is the one that showed me a picture of you cheating while I'm in the middle of a pressing curl. I know exactly how it feels. At least your embarrassment was about work and not an affair. But she's thinking that to herself. She's trying not to have an outburst. Dion continues whining and he is like, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I'm being followed by some negative energy. Like, Danielle, my life is falling apart since I haven't been with you. And Danielle froze for a minute because deep down, she knew exactly when that shift started. That night, she cried into the dark, asking for him to feel her pain. And mind you, she hasn't told a soul about the prayer, not her mama, not her sister, not her best friend, no one. But the more she thought about it, about how his life is just in shambles now, she realized her words just didn't fly away. They landed right on him. And at first, honestly, she felt justified. Like, yeah, I'm glad your tires popped. Yeah, I'm glad that debit card got stolen. I should have stole it. And yeah, I'm glad your boss embarrassed you. I hope he do it again. Matter of fact, tell old girl how he hurt your feelings. Why you calling me? Like, she wasn't happy about it, but she felt like, okay, good. I'm glad things are going wrong. But I guess she did love him, and she didn't like seeing him in this state. But she was like, okay, now you're starting to understand. You're not at peace. At least I know you're over there suffering too. So it's even. And as weeks went on, the misfortune didn't lighten up for Dion. It started to attach itself to people around him, causing even more hiccups. His brother's car got broken into. His niece got sick for a week. The children have nothing to do with it, but she got sick. His mom slipped on a wet floor at the grocery store. Nothing severe, but all strange and all clustered. And it seems to be all connected to him. Danielle didn't feel justified anymore. She started to feel bad, especially when she heard about the niece being sick and his mom falling. So she started to feel scared. Now, Danielle is a better woman than I would ever be. Because hypothetically, just an example, allegedly, this is all alleged. If it was me and you cheated on me, my husband cheated on me, I'ma cheat back. I'm competitive. Oh, you wanna cheat? I'm about to cheat. Like, as soon as he told me, oh, the boss embarrassed me, I'm going after the boss. I need that because I want you to feel so uncomfortable every time you're around this man, knowing that he had me. And then he's going to take his anger out on you because I'm going to make that man fall in love with me. And it's your fault that he can't have me. Oh, yeah, he really about to embarrass you. If not, fire you. And then if I still don't feel satisfied after that, that girl you cheated on me with, I hope she's single. Because if she has a husband or a boyfriend, hide him. I'm after that. And if I really wanted to take it up a notch, oh, you got a brother? Oh, okay. Or if I didn't completely follow through with the act, I would have made it so suspicious that you were constantly thinking, did something happen with me and the boss, me and your brother, to the point where you just can't live in peace because you're constantly paranoid. Oh, I would have mind booked him. I wouldn't have burned a candle, made a doll. I would have done the groundwork, boots on the ground. But you shouldn't do that, right? So Danielle actually handled this very spiritually mature. Danielle is not like that. Don't be like me. Be like Danielle. Because one evening she sat on her couch holding her chest because the air in the apartment just felt heavy. She started to feel guilty, like her words had created something she didn't mean for it to create. She felt guilty even though it wasn't a curse. It wasn't some type of demon she sent after him. She hadn't asked for him to be destroyed. She just didn't want to carry the heartbreak alone. She wanted him to be in pain too. But pain doesn't know how to be measured. Pain is pain. Pain goes where it is sent. So she did something simple. Again, no candles, no rituals, no incense. But if you want candles or incense, you can go to BlaqueWitchYaya.com. If you love this beautiful black tourmaline necklace, you can shop BlaqueWitchYaya.com. But back to the story. She sat quietly and spoke into the room again. She said, I release it. Whatever I spoke from her, I take it back. I don't want it to harm him. I don't want his people harmed. I just want peace for the both of us, however that looks. And slowly, definitely not instantly, things started easing up. Dion found a new apartment, had a clean slate. His luck shifted back to normal. His family stopped having random issues. Even Danielle's anxiety started to lift, like something unclenched from her spirit. And she knew that her being far away from him was punishment enough. She knew you no longer have me, so I don't have to do anything else. You will suffer and deal with that. And she wanted the universe to handle the rest. And surprisingly, they didn't get back together. When I was reading this email, I was slowly expecting that because I'm like, girl, you being a little nice, but they didn't get back together. She put her foot down, but they did get closure. And Danielle learned something she teaches everybody now, whether they believe in energy, spirits, or not. You don't need candles or spells to move something in the spiritual world, which is completely true because sometimes your mouth is the altar and the pain that you're feeling at the moment is the offering filled with intention. So be careful what you release into the air when you're hurting, depressed, or in pain because the air knows how to really carry a message. And at the end of the day, this whole situation is a reminder of something a lot of people don't realize until they lived it. Your words don't come from your mouth, they come from your state of mind. If you're speaking from anger, that's the energy behind it. If you're speaking from sadness, that's the energy behind it. But no matter what, it's energy. And when your spirit is that open and vulnerable, those words hit the world with double the force. People think intention only matters when you're manifesting and you're trying to envision how you would feel once your goals come to life. But intention matters even more when you're hurting because pain makes your words heavier and you have to select your words more carefully because your words are sent out to the world with a job to do, even if you never meant to assign one. That's why emotional and mental state is everything. If you speak while you're spiraling, while you're crying, while you're shaking, you're not just talking, you're releasing energy, stuff that you might not be able to pull back once it leaves you. Let me know down below the moment something happened that made you realize that you needed to be careful with what you say because you noticed how powerful your words are. Did you say it out of anger, sadness, happiness? What was the moment you realized like, oh shoot, let me start speaking carefully? But thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. And like I always say, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe of the soul. Until next time, you guys, Ashe, baby.